Hi friends, it's Individual and Relationship Joel Brass back with you again with the third installment of a series of YouTube videos, all on the theme of relationships, the work of love. Each video taking you gradually and successively through all of the many stages of relationships. In our last installment, we talked about an absolute phenomenal experience that hopefully every one of you watching me today has sampled and known, called falling in love. And we talked about what a magical carpet ride it is, because it is based on wonder and excitement and novelty, on romance and passion. And at that stage, it just looks like the person that we've selected is absolutely unblemished, impeccable, a kind of paragon of virtue. And we can't imagine that there will ever be any issues, let alone difficulties, even potential strife down the line. So falling in love, again, is something that I want to kind of contrast today with that which occurs when falling in love by nature ends, because it is based on an experience. All experiences in life are temporary, they are transient, they are like mists in front of the sun. And thereby there comes a stage where falling in love does end, and the relationship either graduates from that point into something I'll call the work of love, or it does not. If it doesn't, we are destined our whole love lives to fall in love and out of love. Often, if we look very carefully, we're falling in love and out of love for the very same reasons. The traits or features or characteristics of the person in that early stage that just thrilled us and endear us can often wear thin in another stage where it just feels like we're getting too much of that which we once liked. And then instead of them being endearing traits, they feel a lot like sandpaper, and sandpaper to the soul even. So they become sources of abrasion or sources of our own personal judgment. So let's look at the difference today between falling in love, which I'm saying is based on an experience, a phenomenon that is temporary and transient no matter how hard you try to maintain it, and the work of love. The work of love really begins when there is just the beginning of a bit of hurt in the relationship, fear, anger, distrust, confusion, even some experiences of disappointment. And that is just an inevitable part of what happens when two people draw very close to each other. And if we don't have the courage and the character and the communication skills to deal with those kinds of things, then really what begins to happen is this wide and bountiful space that falling in love has initiated begins to slowly and gradually shrink. And in so doing, our hearts that were once wide open, the size you could say of a field or a meadow, shrink and become the size of a ping pong ball. So the difference between falling in love, which is based on an experience, and the work of love, is the work of love takes a lot of character and courage and commitment. And it's really intentional. It is something that you have to be willing to do. An analogy would be that you are now going to attempt to construct a home that will be able to weather all climates, a home that will have a foundation. And if we don't know how to handle hurt or disappointment, fear, anger, distrust, or even experiences of being let down and betrayed, then we don't know how to make that home have a foundation. And falling in love, for all its wonder and all its thrill, is not a foundation for these kinds of things. So you could say that the work of love is about the deliberate, conscious willingness to deal with conflicts, to deal with challenges, to deal with what happens when what I want conflicts with what you want. And that often means that we really have to start to engage in a very different way than falling in love ever insisted that we do. We have to be able to start to honor and understand what the feelings, the needs and wants of our partner are, while at the same time doing justice to and not betraying our own feelings, needs, and wants. So it's a very, very different ball game from anything that falling in love on a white sand beach under the moonlight asks of us. So you could say again that the work of love is for those people that realize that they want something to age and deepen like fine wine in their relationship. That they are looking for soulful connection over time and the opportunity to still be true to who they are while at the same time understanding and entering the inner world of another and hoping to be able to contribute to that inner world so that the other person can be as happy and fulfilled as possible. It's a much greater challenge than falling in love is, and it can infuse the romantic and the sexual, but it is something quite different from what the romantic and the sexual aspects of a relationship can generate. So I hope this has been valuable for you, and we'll continue with this series on the theme of your love code next.